Okay, hello everyone. Today I will discuss the four fundamental operations on integers. Let's start with the rules in multiplying and dividing integers. So just remember these two things. The first is when you multiply or divide two integers with the same signs, the result is always positive. And then the second one is when you multiply or divide two integers with different signs, the result is always negative. So let me give you examples. Here, we have 3 times negative 4, so they have different signs, so therefore the answer is a negative answer, right? So 3 times 4 is 12, and they have different signs, so therefore the answer is negative 12. Okay, let's go to the second example. Here we have negative 2 times negative 10. Now both of these are negative, so therefore the answer is positive 20. Okay, let's go to the third one. So in algebra, that fraction bar means division. So here, this means negative 28 divided by 4, which is equal to negative 7. They have different signs, so negative divided by positive is negative. Here we have three negative signs, and you might be thinking, okay, since all of these are negative, then the result will be positive. No, you have if you look at the rules, it says there if there's two. So you have to consider the number of negative signs. So if here we have three negative signs, if you will multiply first the first two negative integers, negative 2 times negative 3, okay, if you will consider these two first, that will give you a positive answer. So negative times negative will result to a positive, and then times negative. So here, the final answer should be negative. Okay, that's the reminder. Okay, when you multiply 2, okay, so okay, that's negative 2 and negative 3, and that will give you positive 6. And now we have two integers that have different signs, so therefore the answer should be negative. Let's go to the next example. Here we have six negative integers. Again, remember that when you multiply two integers with the same signs, the result is always positive. But we have a 6 here, so we will consider this as positive because both of them are negative. This is also positive. This one is also positive when we consider the signs. So now, if we know that if we multiply all of this, the result is positive, we can say that 1 times negative 1 is positive 1, negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6, and a negative 4 times negative 5 is equal to positive 20. And if you multiply this 3, the answer is 120. Let's go to the addition of integers. Now, I know maybe some of you are thinking, what about the rules in subtraction? I just want you to focus on the rules of adding integers, okay? Because later on, I will explain that, or the subtraction of integers will actually be included here, but we will not focus on the rules, okay? There are rules in subtracting integers, but we can just apply the addition rules for integers. Okay, I'm talking about this rule to add integers having the same signs. Keep the sign and add the absolute value of each number. And then to add integers with different signs, keep the sign of the number with the largest absolute value and subtract the smallest absolute value from the largest. So keep in mind that the distinction between these two rules are if they have the same signs, you keep them and then add. If they have different signs, you will subtract them and you copy the sign of the larger or the largest absolute value number. Okay, let me give you examples. So these are the steps before I give you the example. Identify the negative and positive integers, combine all the negative and all the positive integers, and then simplify. After you finish the first and the second, of course, that's the last thing that you will do, simplify. Let's go to the examples here. Number 6, example number 6, negative 2 I know when you read this, it's minus 3, so plus 9, and then you might be thinking, what about the rules in subtraction? Now, here's the thing. You can, again, like what I said earlier, there's no need for us to understand or to memorize the rules for um, subtraction of integers or subtracting integers, because here we can just consider 3 here as negative. So what I mean by that is, if you look at the first rule, let's go back here. We need to identify the negative and positive integers. So here we can consider this 3 as negative. And I know when you read this, it's negative 2 minus 3, right? Now, in algebra, you can uh, consider that 3 as negative as well, even though I pronounce it, or I mention it as like minus 3. So here we can consider 3 as negative. So now we know that 3 is negative and 2 is also negative, since they have the same signs based from the rules of adding integers. We will add them. That's negative 5, since both of them are negative, and then plus 9. Now they have different signs, so we will subtract them. It would be 9 minus 5, and that would be 4, but it's positive 4 because 9 is larger than 5, and the sign of 9 is positive. So if it's like the other way around, if it's like this, 5 minus 9, they have different signs, right? 9 here is negative and 5 is positive. We will still subtract the 2. Again, when I read this, I know it's 5 minus 9, but we can consider 9 as negative. So 5 negative 9, that would be 4, and we will copy the sign of the larger absolute value number, which is 9. Okay? Let's go to the second one. Again, here we have negative 1 plus 2 minus 8 plus 7 minus 3 minus 10 rather. So it's safe to read this one as negative 1 plus 2 negative 8 plus 7 and negative 10. So here I will encircle that negative 1. I will encircle negative 8 and negative 10. We can consider those 3 as negative and then combine them. That will be negative 19. Combine positive 2 and positive 9, positive 2 and 7 rather, and that will be equal to 9. So now we have two integers that have different signs. Combine them. Of course, they have different signs, so therefore we will subtract them. The answer would be negative 10. Okay, so let's go to the next example. 4 minus 5. They have different signs here. Okay, so the answer is negative 1. Again, we will consider that as negative. Okay, it's like 4. I know it's 4 minus 5, but we can consider as 4 and negative 5. Okay, now for this one, now this is different from the examples I gave you, because here we have parentheses, and here we will apply the rules of multiplying integers. Okay, what I mean by that is here, as you can see, okay, there, it's like you're multiplying two negative signs, and here you're multiplying a negative and a positive. So if we multiply that, that will be positive, okay? And then that will be negative. So we can rewrite this as this one. Negative, so it's negative 3 minus negative 5. That means you will multiply those two signs. That will be positive. You have negative and positive sign. That will be negative. Okay. Next, so I'm putting this vertical line so that so that the signs of the integers will be emphasized. So we have negative 3 and negative 8. They are the same, right? And that would be negative 11 plus 5. They have different signs now, right? So we will subtract them. The answer would be negative 6. Let's go to the next example. 9 minus 2 times 1. So for this one, don't subtract 2 from 9. You got to solve this first, okay? Okay, let's solve that first. That would be negative 2, because negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. So 9 minus 2, that's 9 and negative 2, and that is equal to positive 7. Okay, that's it. Thank you. I hope you learned something. Just remember that in adding and subtracting integers, just focused on the multiplication and division rules and the addition rule of integers. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye-bye.